How's it going, everybody? In this video I'm going to show you how to set up a sensor array that also triggers a trap. This is very useful for a lot of things. These heartbeat sensors are extremely nice because they are the best thing for detecting players at the moment. Far better than the lasers because you can avoid them and their range is short. These have a pretty good range of about maybe 20 meters or so. So you can set up quite a bit with them. This specific circuit I have here is 3 sensors. They all work in tandem. If one goes off, they all will trigger the trap together. It does not matter. Let me show you what I mean here. So now I'm detected and the door opened, revealing 4 auto turrets. This is very useful if you want to surprise someone. In this case here, I'm built out in the middle of the water, so should someone with a helicopter come and land here, they're going to get a pretty nasty surprise. So anyways, enough talk. Let me show you how you can set up a multiple sensor that also has the benefit of providing more power to your system to trigger things down the line, like these doors I have here. A lot of people have asked for this because the heartbeat sensors, when they trigger, they only release a power of 1 per person. This setup I have here negates that, where it'll continue the flow of power that you have. Anyways, let's get started here. Your power output 1 from your main power source, in this case a small generator, is, as I usually do, running to a switch. This is so you can shut all power off from this power source. From the output here, I'm running to an electrical branch. This is set currently at 20. That's all I need for this circuit right now. And I left the power out so that if you wanted to, you could use the remainder of the 80 power you get from this generator for something else, lights or whatever you want. From the branch out, you're going to run down to the electrical input of this switch. This is the main switch to turn on your circuit. The output here, you will run over to this electrical branch to the power in and just set this to 2. From the branch out here, you will run into this sensor and power out from this, run it to an XOR switch. The power out from this electrical branch, I apologize for the lengthy wire here, run this one over to another electrical branch over here, the power in. Same deal here. You're going to make it just 2 and have it run up to this sensor and again back down to this XOR switch, back to the input. A or B, it does not matter. And the same as before, you're going to run the power out again to yet another electrical branch. Now this is where I'm going to mention that in this video I have 3 sensors, but with this circuit setup here, you can theoretically do this forever, depending on how much power you have. So if you wanted to run 100 of these sensors all the way down a road, you could do that just with this. That is all you need. It would take you quite a bit of time, and I'd be very curious to see someone do that. It'd be really cool. But it can be done that way. Anyways, going back to here, the same setup as that one. Run your branch out to your sensor and your sensor again to this XOR switch. Here's where things are going to change a little bit. And this is how you solve the power issue from these switches. From this electrical branch, the very last one in your line of sensors, your power out, you're going to run it all the way back down to this. This is an AND switch. Put it in the A or B slot. This will provide the power needed to run your chain of traps. Like here I have 4 doors. That is what will solve that one power issue from this, because you're getting power from the end of your line there and it's triggered from your trap, and together that provides this to move on down the line of the command of the circuit. So that's how that works. Now let's go back to these XOR switches here. From the output of the first sensor, you're going to want to run it down to another XOR switch. Now this is where things can get kind of complicated. If you have a lot of sensors, you need to make sure that they will break down eventually to just one of these switches, because if they don't, you're going to have either one sensor doing nothing or it's just not going to work properly. So like I have here, I have 3 sensors, and then they're breaking down. This one's coming here. I'm combined 2 of them into this one down into here. So I have 2 breaking down into one final switch here. Let me show you what I mean more about that here when on these 2. So just remember, this one, you're going to run power out to an XOR switch here. Now for these 2, I did not give them their own over here, because that would make 3, and I can't divide 3 by 2 to make just 1. So I combine them into this instead. So from this XOR switch, I've run this down to an OR switch in the input of the OR. And the same thing for this one. I've run the output from this one to the other input of this OR switch. That means if either one of these triggers, this will trigger. If they both trigger, that'll also trigger as well. It doesn't matter. So from the end of this, this will run down over to this XO switch. Both of these outputs now will combine into yet another XOR switch. That gives me all 3 of my sensors working together. And from the output of this, after you've connected your first one and this joined pair here, you combine the output here from here, the XOR switch, to the other slot, the other input on this AND switch. That means that you have constant power from this electrical branch over here, and should any one of these sensors trip, you will get the other jolt of power to continue this circuit. And this is where that extra power from this is going to come into play now. So once that triggers, now this will move down the line to these splitters. And I have enough power that it'll split it up to power what I have. That's what you got to remember with these splitters. They're going to divide things by the amount of power you're splitting out the bottom. They're not very efficient, but it's the only thing that works to trigger out traps. Electrical branches and root combiners do not do the job very well. The splitters do. So from your AND switch here, go to this splitter, and now this splitter have 1 going to a door controller in here. There are 4 door controllers, 1 per door, and I just put them right next to the door. And then the other splitter I'm running to yet another splitter, and this just breaks off 3 ways to the other door controllers here. Now remember, with door controllers too, if you're having issues with them, the only way they work is if your door is unlocked. If it is locked, it will not function properly. So make sure your door is unlocked when you do that. And all you do is come up to it, and it'll say combine with door. You hit that, and then now it's connected to the door. I know I talked a lot, and there's quite a bit of information there. Should you have any questions, just feel free to ask me. I will be glad to help you out. But that is how you set up a multiple sensor array and solve the power issue with the sensors at the same time. There's a lot of things you can do with this setup. I'd really like to see more stuff other than what I got here. Let me know if you do something like that. I'd love to see it. Send me a link to your video or whatnot. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching.